to City Life. Today on the program, herbal and nutritional medicine. We talk with the chair of the Central City Business Association. We have some actors in the studio, and if you fancy yourself a bit of a singer, Luke de Somma is in to talk about his new pop choir. But first on the program, as promised, Reid Stiven from EQC to answer some of your questions. Now, I must say, 3 notes have been sent in to say that they had great experiences with the EQC. One in particular said that the EQC hub at North Brighton had responded to all of her requests promptly and politely. So 3 thank yous to start off the programme. That's a good start. All right. Question number 1. I sent in a contents claim from the September quake on the 5th of April. I wonder what the average amount of time is to wait before hearing back about that claim.
Gee, average time I'm not sure of, Kenita, but I know we've got 2 teams working on contents at the moment. We're having to split some resources off to cope with some other areas of the business as well. But I would hope a month to 6 weeks once we're up and running. There's about 20,000 contents claims that we've received that we can settle, so we're working on them now. Okay.
We have had our house assessed after the September quake. We were put on the longer waiting list because we were not an urgent case. However, since then I suspect that we have a leaking roof. Are we allowed to get it fixed now?
Absolutely, and you should. You have the option of getting your own contractor in, but there's a $2,000 limit on that, or you can ring 0800 damage, ask Fletchers to come in, have a look at it, and they can effect some repairs to it, and they've got scope to go above that $2,000.
Okay. Question 3, of course, from some of our viewers. I have had a great response from the EQC for one of my 2 houses. I've had 4 visits to my own house, but none to my rental property. For my own peace of mind and that of my tenants, I've had 2 structural engineers report on the house. They have said that it is safe. Should I send any of this information into the EQC?
Yep, that's great, really helpful. So if they want to send that to PO Box 311 Wellington, we'll get that loaded up onto the claim and it'll be there for our guys when they go out to complete the inspection.
Okay. Question 4. We've been told our house has to go, but we don't know whether we can rebuild on the land. Is the insurance company or the EQC, or which one makes a decision on whether we rebuild on the land? There's a few questions with this one.
Yeah, it's really difficult actually, and land is a massive issue, as everyone knows. Look, I can't answer the question specifically. At the end of the day, the insurance company, if they're rebuilding the home, will make application to the council for a building consent. The council will make a decision about whether that land can be rebuilt on. EQC's function is to compensate for damage to the land. And, you know, we do that now. We've got Tonkin and Taylor's teams out assessing the land. They report back to us, and in time we will make a settlement on the land. Okay.
Any idea when this decision will be made?
No. I know government's due to have said that they will make a decision, a statement on land. Once they've got all the information. How long that's going to take, I'm not sure.
Okay. And they also ask what happens if they can't rebuild. Do they get a lump sum?
In a traditional EQC settlement, we would settle them based on, it's a very complex settlement. They're entitled to the minimum size site value or the value of the damage to the land or the repair cost, whichever is less.
Okay.
So I don't want to go into that because it'll take a long time, but yes, they may get in likelihood they will get a lump sum payment from EQC.
All right. And the last bit of that question, if we do get a payout, do we get to take the money and run, or will we have to buy land in a certain area?
Don't know.
You don't know?
No, that's not. We would settle the claim, and then from our perspective it's up to the claimant to do what they want to do. Okay.
Is this true? If your house is in a red zone with most of the other houses coming down around it, will your house have to come down too? Is that true?
Not an EQC decision.
Yeah.
The decision to demolish homes is really with the insurance company.
Okay.
We're only liable for $115,000. So,
okay, right.
Insurance company.
I have a house in Mount Pleasant that is, for the most part, ruined. The area is deserted and I've heard from no one. What is the update on this area? Can we expect to talk to someone soon for help?
We've worked hard in Mount Pleasant and in the hill suburbs. Yeah. There's a lot of homes with red stickers on them, so we don't have any more right to access a red stickered home than anybody else. So if there's a red sticker on the home, that would stop us going in. The owner should contact the council and see what steps have been undertaken to remove those stickers.
And finally, just another couple of questions. How long will I have to wait after EQC have confirmed my claim to get paid out?
We're working to a time frame of about a month to process all the paperwork once the inspection's been completed. There's a little bit of a backlog there because of the multi-claim situation and the amount of work we have to do. We hope to have that backlog cleared mid-June, so after mid-June fairly quickly.
Okay. What is the next step after the EQC assessors have approved your claim?
Okay, well there's three scenarios. If it's under $10,000 in value and there's no structural damage, then we will cash settle that claim to you. If it's between $10,000 and $100,000 in damage, that claim will be passed to our Fletcher's project management organisation. Now, the claimant has the opportunity to opt out of that program and go with your own builder if they want, and then obviously over $100,000 of damage, it's passed to their insurer.
Okay, and will I get the money, will I get paid the money to fix my house, or will the contractor get paid?
We'll pay the contractor. So even if you decide to opt out, give us some quotes, we'll tick the boxes on those, make sure we're happy, and we'll pay those invoices as they come in from the contractor. Okay,
great. That's the end of that question segment. You've done very well. All right, so April 16th event, close-off date, that is coming up in the next, well, in July, doesn't it?
I think 17th.
Yeah, so
90 days.
So people have to get their claims in from the April 16 event. How are things going at the moment with EQC?
Oh, we're really happy. We're well through all the serious damage. We trialled our iPads on Friday. Our teams are absolutely wrapped with them. So they're going to speed up our inspection process no end. So we're rolling them out, staged rollout over the next couple of weeks. So hopefully when people start seeing us now, our guys will have iPads and it will be a much quicker and more accurate process.
So how does this make it faster?
Because all the information is recorded straight into the iPad, including the cost of repairs.
Okay.
So there's no paper to be processed at the end of it. Push the button, it goes straight into our database, and we can use the information from the database straight away to settle the claim or pass it over to Fletcher's wherever it needs to go. Okay.
And let's look at the other initiatives that the EQC has. Winter heat projects?
Yeah, Fletcher's doing that for us, and over 5,000 heat pump installations, which was better than target for May. And off the top of my head, there's about 9,000 units on order. So they're going really well with those, and obviously as the units come in, their installations will continue. So really pleased with that.
Great. Now let's just finally look at your recent stats.
Now you've just cooked me on that one.
Just off the top of your head.
Look, we're just about through the serious damage stuff. So as I said, we'll be moving into moderate claims from here on in. Got to look at our inspection priorities around that, and whether we operate across the city or we try and target suburb by suburb. So we're working through that and seeking some direction. Winter heat is going well. We're just about to start on the chimney replacement program. So those people that have opted for fireplace, and that'll start shortly. And obviously the really topical one is invoices, and we're working through those as quickly as we possibly can. Okay, great. Thank you for coming on the program. Now, you'll be back again next week, so people can still email me some questions. kanita@ctv.co.nz. Fantastic. Thanks for coming on the program again. Cheers. Now my next guest is Sam McSorely to talk about herbal and nutritional medicine. Now what can people expect after 9 months after the first quake? What should they be experiencing?
Well, stress is a big thing that we're all familiar with now in Christchurch, and just a few days off 9 months for our first earthquake in September. We're incredibly stressed, and more stressed than I think we realise. We've got 3 different phases of the stress response, which is the alarm, the resistance and the exhaustion. So in the alarm, we call that the general adaptation syndrome. It's the kind of scientific term for stress. And so in the alarm response, what we can expect to see is it's when we were in the jungle, running from the tiger. So we have a lot of adrenaline circulating around in our body, which is called the flight and fright response, which you might have heard of. And that allows us to get, more blood pumping around our heart to run, and puts us into the sympathetic mode. Everything shuts down, like digestion, etc. Now that's designed for short-term stress, which is what we all experience as part of life. Life goes up and down. And then you move into the resistance phase, which is around coping with longer-term stress. And that's when our body starts to produce the hormone cortisol. Now, cortisol is really important as a stress hormone. It's produced by little glands that just sit above your kidneys, called the adrenal glands, and they're about walnut size, and they produce about 50 different hormones but cortisol is one of the important ones. And that mobilises sugar, it allows heart rate to continue going so that we've got enough energy to keep running and to allow ourselves to cope with that stress response. Now, long term, being in that resistance response, the second phase of stress, is that it starts to have an impact on us and we start to experience what we call functional illness at Alpha Omega Healthcare. So we can start to get things like anxiety and insomnia, irritable bowel syndrome, you can get a bit snappy, feeling like your vitality is low. And then we start to move into a phase called exhaustion, which I feel most Cantabrians are actually stepping into now. For many Cantabrians, we haven't had a full night's sleep since September. So we're all going around sleep deprived and starting to feel a bit depressed and a bit anxious. And the thing with stress is it's so insidious, we actually don't notice these symptoms, so we don't identify being stressed. It's other people that start to notice the characteristics of a close one has changed.
So how can we notice stress in somebody else and in fact ourselves?
Yeah, well, look back to where you were prior to the earthquake. How were you sleeping? How were you eating? How were you coping with day-to-day activities? What was your motivation levels like? How's your routine changed? How are you feeling inside yourself?
Okay. Is any level of stress a good thing?
Stress is a good thing. We're designed to have stress because we've got that, 3 phases of the stress response and the hormones that are designed around that. So we're designed to have stress, but not long-term stress.
Right.
So it's that long-term stress that starts to become the problem. And when you're not sleeping well, you don't really cope with your day as well as you would ordinarily, would you? Yeah.
How can we deal with it?
Well, there's several things you can look at doing. Firstly, be kind to yourself. Eating well, so making sure that you're having protein with each meal, carbohydrates, making sure that your fruit and your vegetables, going back to eating as close to the human food chain as you possibly can, trying to avoid those junk foods. What we tend to do is we tend to carb load, and that's one thing that we'll find, that when we've got a lot of long-term stresses, we can become adrenally fatigued. So we tend to go for high carbohydrate foods and high fat foods, which don't necessarily serve us. High carb foods tend to give us peaks and troughs with our blood sugar levels. So we get a high for a while and then we drop down to lower from when we started. So, you get the fatigue and things kicking in, especially in the afternoon. So, have a good, well-balanced diet with your proteins, low glycemic carbohydrates and your good fats.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about things like herbal medicines and things like that? Can they help?
Yeah, they're definitely good as an adjunct, so a supportive therapy that you can use in conjunction with the diet and the exercise, reducing your alcohol. So there's various herbs that you can use. You talked about St John's wort last week in the programme last week, and that's a fabulous herb, particularly good for depression, very good for anxiety as well. But you have to be very mindful of taking St John's wort, especially if you're on other medications and other herbs, because it can reduce the half-life of those drugs. Things like ginseng, things like withania, rehmannia, and so to get into herbal medicine, you're better to go and see a qualified individual that can tailor a herbal mix to that person, because everybody's response to stress is different.
Okay. So just look at the things that you can buy at these supermarkets, St John's wort, for example.
Yeah.
So will actually work? Things from the supermarket?
Yes, they can work. There's varying qualities of herbal medicine out there. There's off the counter, let's try that. And yes, it can have an impact, but you are better to actually have something that's tailored to you. And when you're treating yourself, it's very difficult to be subjective in your treatment. You're better for somebody to come in and be objective about what's going on, because we don't often see what's happening for ourselves, which then rolls on to when, in this time in Christchurch, surround yourself by your support systems, your friends, your family. There's free counselling out there for people at the moment as well that you can get through your GP, getting out and walking. Just pull on all resources. And the elderly especially, who are isolated anyway, have become more isolated since the earthquake because they're frightened to leave the house, which many people are.
And finally, I spoke with your colleague last week about using rescue remedy as something to sort of calm you down.
Yes.
Is that something you would recommend as well?
Definitely something to have in the glove compartment of your car or in your handbag. I've used it on I was on a plane the other day and had some in my handbag, and people were talking about the earthquake, and you could see that they were getting quite overwhelmed by it because they lost their house and their job. And it's there. It's there as a band-aid, but I think we need to go far deeper than that and actually get in and start supporting people with, nutritional supplementation and herbal medicine, or drugs if people need those as well.
All right, Sam, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thanks for having me.
After the break, we catch up with the chair of the Central City Business Association. Welcome back to City Life, and I'd like to welcome a special guest, Antony Gough.
Hello there.
Good to see you here. Now, there's been, tell me about your role in Christchurch. What are your jobs? You've got quite a few jobs.
Yes, well, I wear many hats, but essentially I'm a major property owner in Christchurch. Areas known like the Terrace along Oxford Terrace, which used to be called the Strip. We're the property owners for all of that except for Barcelona, not Barcelona, the boulevard on the corner. We also own up Cashel Street all the way up to the Sonny building between myself, my sister and my brother. We also own properties on Hereford Street. We have other properties elsewhere in the centre city, places like Oasis and Poplar's Apartment Hotel and a 10-story black office tower. But as well as that, I ran 2 hotels, a couple of restaurants. I also happen to be chairman of Central City Business Association, on New Zealand Property Council executive, and we're also building a retirement village just down the road from where you're filming at the moment on Roydale Ave, on the old Rusty Hotel site.
Just around the corner?
Yes.
Oh, gosh. Well, it's so good to have you on the program, because you've also brought along quite a few props with you today, some photos from what is inside the Central City that we haven't been able to see. So let's take a look at some of those photos that you've brought here on the easel. Right,
so if we have a look on the easel here, when we can zoom down on it. Here we are. So this is in Cashel Street. The buildings you see there, that building in the middle used to be 3 stories. The top fell off the building. That's what it was like on the 22nd of February, and you'll notice all the rubble on the ground. Yeah. The top floor totally fell off. The shop on the left, which is totally missing, is DeVal's dress shop. The one in the middle, that was 123 Mark. The one on the right was TS14. And unfortunately, one person died in DeVal's, one died at Trotadero on the right, and 2 on the road out there. The interesting thing is there was a photographer in the middle floor up there, and he said it was really, really noisy in his building. And then when everything stopped, he came down and couldn't believe his top story was totally missing.
Man.
So
have a look at that one. I think you've got that one, haven't you?
Yes, yeah. So there it's tidied. This is what it looks like today, a bit tidied up. You can still see the roof on top. It's still sitting there. All those buildings in between there. So Radar Records on the left will stay, but everything else will go that you see in the picture there. This is the back of those buildings. So there you can see the roof and the top story just hanging out over the side there. The building, see where it says rock gas and that man walking away in the white top, that's us cleaning food out. But that building stays, the one on the right, but everything else that you can see in the picture will go. So that's the back of those buildings from Cashel Street. Here, I just took some photos further down Cashel Street. That's the Whitcrells building on the right, and you can see why Whitcrells is going to come down. The building's both shattered internally and on the facade. The building on the left is what everyone calls the Wickley Press building, and you'll notice there's just nothing left of it. It's totally fallen apart, so that all those buildings will come down. They're opposite Ballantyne's in Cashel Street. These buildings are on the same side as Ballantyne's, and they go all the way down to the Bridge of Remembrance.
Oh, yes, I see that in the background.
And you'll see a shop called Platinum on the left. That will be the only building that will remain between the Bridge of Remembrance and Ballantyne's.
Oh, my gosh.
So everything you see in that photo, including that big glass tower at the end, will come down.
Oh, my gosh. Was that a big surprise to you?
Yes, that so much is going to come down.
Oh, my goodness.
So the one you see, the brick building, that's Cafe Bleu. You'll see beyond that Trade Aid. You'll see the bog.
The bog, the vault.
Yes, all of that will come down. You'll remember Lodi's shoes that turned into the last train from India. That's that pile of scaffolding you see there. The Cafe Bleu was having its building repaired after Boxing Day, but it's absolutely fallen apart internally. So big changes in Cashel Street coming up.
All right.
This is the terrace, Oxford Terrace. previously known as the Strip, you can see they generally look pretty good, these buildings. We own all of these, but they all have got structural damage to them. So let's have a little closer look at some of these. This is liquidity in the middle there, and you'll see the bricks have all fallen off the top. On the right-hand side of that brick facade, you'll see a blue steel beam.
Yes.
We had the same on this other side, and it stayed up. So if we...
Point to it. Where is it there?
Yeah, so here, shall I point to this?
Yeah.
Right, so here, there's the steel beam.
Yeah.
Feels funny when you're sitting this way. Right, and this end we had one here, but it stayed up at 22nd of September. We put these on after the Boxing Day earthquake, and that is what saved people from being injured along Oxford Terrace.
Gosh.
The bricks at a later date with a subsequent aftershock fell backwards. But that's a heritage building, and we're not allowed to touch that generally, but we illegally put those braces on there, and wasn't that lucky I did.
Imagine if you hadn't.
Yes, so we're very security conscious in this area, and that's why nobody really got killed along Oxford Terrace.
Because this is all a very busy area, that's lunchtime, wasn't it?
Yes, it was 5 to 1 in the middle of the day. We were full. All those tables were absolutely chocker with patrons. By the way, none of them paid, I don't think. I don't blame them either. Now, this is the back of the same brick building, and you can see it's totally shattered to pieces around the back there. But that fire escape survived and let everyone out all right.
Good.
The building didn't actually fall apart, but it's interesting that we will take all that brick brown-looking part down to the ceiling height ground floor, prop the roof, and rebuild it in lightweight strength, strong upstairs area.
Okay.
Now, I'm just taking you around to Hereford Street. This is Shan's Emporium, built in the 1850s. It's the last remaining oldest wooden house within the 4 avenues.
Gosh.
And it survived. We were lucky we'd taken the chimney out of that building down to the sort of ceiling height upstairs after the Boxing Day earthquake. We took it out with a crane, and so that building will remain and will be a cherished part of our redevelopment. One of the things you'll notice, there's holes in the side of that building. I have not been allowed, I've only been into the red zone twice, well, twice legally, and we're hoping we can get in there tomorrow and put some repairs on the side of that building to better waterproof it.
Okay.
But that will be part of our development. And if you look straight through, all the way back, those are those buildings on Cashel Street that were damaged.
Yeah.
So you can see it's a clear swathe right through the block there.
Right.
This is me standing
Who's this
there. So this was Vivace's on the left and me, Mai Tai, and behind it has got all the terrace bars. I'll just borrow your pen and you can see. This was this building we were looking at. It's got all the damage along the top. This is the back of Bangalore Polo Club, which we're also going to have to do a lot of work on. And then if we go all the way through to here, this building here, this is the tap room in the corner, and these buildings along here will remain. But then from there onwards goes the other towards Ballantyne's.
Right.
So now, just the other day we were in town, and this was my second official visit, and we were part of the clean-up crew. So they're on your, what would it be? Right.
I recognise that guy on the right.
Yes,
that yellow hat?
He's Dimitris of Dimitris Souvalakis, and the little lady in the middle, that's my partner, that's Vicky Holland. She has Cashel tie right beside it. So we're just beside the tap room coming up Cashel Street, and that's me on the other side. So we were all dressed in those white overalls.
That was to get all the food, all the rotten food out of the freezers.
Terrible job. They didn't want our overalls back when we finished. This is Cashel Street. This is what will that will all stay that you see there, and if you look, there's a little green van down there. That's actually a rubbish truck, and there's bins in front of it. That's us cleaning out the freezers. So the freezers have all been cleaned. This is a building that I own. This is a hotel at Oxford Terrace and Chester Street East. It's coming down with Oasis Restaurant, and the building beside it's also coming down. So a lot of buildings you think are all right are not. This is a mystery one for the viewers. I'm not going to tell you where it is. See whether you can guess. And it's not Cashel Street. Looks like Third Well.
No idea where that is. All right, now what is this?
This is actually redevelopment of what we're expecting to do in the centre city. So this is, you'll see it's plastic greenhouses, and on the right is Cashel Street, the sort of tall box that's sitting up here. This building is Sony,
Oh, yes.
This building down here, this is Radar Records. Out this side, if you look down here, this is car parking behind the terrace. So we're planning to put double skin greenhouses that'll be high security, air conditioned. They'll look fantastic.
Wow.
Because it's important to double skin them and have them all looking apart, nice and warm in the winter, cool in the summer. It has automatic ventilators. They'll have all the modtrons. We're going to treat this as an incubator area for about 40 shops.
Okay.
2,500 square metres of retail.
Gosh.
So,
now, this is part of the Restart 2019-11,
correct.
isn't it? Okay.
Yes.
We have to go because we've spent such a long time looking at those photos. Thank you so much for bringing those into us. It'll be good to catch up with you in a couple of weeks just to see how things are going and if you did actually get into the red zone legally.
I'm aiming for a 1 month pass. They all tell me that that's a bit of a dream, but I don't understand the word no. It doesn't feature in my vocabulary.
Well, it's good to see you, so we'll catch up with you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
After the break, we catch up with Renee Walker from Recover Canterbury. Welcome back to City Life and welcome back to the program, Renee Walker.
Thank you.
How are things going at Recover Canterbury?
Great. We are working with a lot of businesses now. We're seeing a bit of a change in what people's issues are. So we've got our people out on the ground really working with those in need. Initially we had a lot of queries about access and people needing access to buildings. It's now changed. There's more issues around insurance and particularly around this depopulation issue that is quite a difficult one for people to understand.
Well, let's look at the depopulation issue. What does that mean?
So people that have business continuity insurance, particularly in the red zone and those areas still cordoned off, are being affected by a thing called depopulation, and what that refers to is the fact that there is no one in those areas at the moment anyway, and if there was, their trade would be affected, so therefore they're not getting paid 100% of what they would normally be making because of this depopulation issue.
Right.
But it is different in every case, and that's what one of the major issues is. We can't give a blanket answer to people, so they really need to be talking to their insurance companies and getting clear ideas on what their policy means and how their policy will work for them.
Okay. What are businesses doing at the moment? Have a lot of them, I guess, they have had to shut up shop, but are they opening up outside of the red zone?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a really difficult period now because we have had the earthquake support subsidy, which has provided wages for people up until now. That finishes today, so it will be interesting to see what happens in the next few weeks and whether businesses that have been managing to keep trading because of that support subsidy are no longer able to do so. You've also got the issue that we're now 3 months past the earthquake, and a lot of businesses were working with a 3-month time frame in mind. So they had made arrangements. They were working from church halls, from lounge rooms, from garages. They were working from other people's offices, and they always saw that as a 3-month thing. Now that there's still uncertainty around time frames, particularly for the central city, there will be a bit of movement, I would expect, with these businesses that can't keep going with the very temporary measures.
So have they been making plans for the end of the 3 months, or are they just thinking now, oh my gosh, there's something, we've got to do something now?
I think a lot of them have been waiting. So I spoke to a law firm yesterday and they were based in the central city. They had an office in Kaiapoi. They moved out there, but they were told that it was for a 3-month period. So you've got 2 firms essentially working in one building with 3 meeting rooms between the 2 firms, and for lawyers that have to have private meetings, that's a really difficult thing to do. But now it's just getting towards the end of the 3 months. They thought they'd have answers about their central city premises by now, and so I don't think that a lot of people have made plans. I think they've really been waiting just to hear what the news is going to be.
Was it surprising for you that these businesses haven't been making plans?
I think what they need to start to do is to look at things in chunks. So you had your immediate needs, and unfortunately, because they were so immediate, people didn't have the liberty of time to make the plans. So they got premises where they could, and a lot of people were out the day after the earthquake just trying to find premises that they could move their staff to so that they could get trading again. And then it's been a matter of trading through the difficult times, and so now is probably the first time that they've got their head above water and they can start to look at what they do long term.
Let's look at your focus status at the moment with this trust fund?
Yeah, so we had the launch of the Canterbury Business Recovery Trust Fund last night, and part of the reason for timing that for now is that the end of this support subsidy has arrived, and so we realise that businesses are going to need other means to get through the next period. So we've launched with $4.5 million, and $2.5 of that was seed funding from the government. The other $2 million has come from business, from the private sector, and we've got a target of $20 million. So that money will be used to help Canterbury-based businesses that were viable pre-earthquake to survive, and it's things like moving premises, fitting out new offices, replacing equipment that was damaged in the earthquake. It might be capital injections to get them through until insurance payments are made. So we hope that that's really going to offer assistance to those businesses that may otherwise have no other means of getting through.
What's the criteria? How will it be distributed?
Well, we've had 250 applications already, and so what happens is once an application is made online at Recover Canterbury, a business recovery coordinator is assigned to the business that applies, and they'll go and work with them and just work out what their needs are and how the money will help them. And we need to be able to see that there is going to be measurable outcomes from the money. So it's not just about giving a handout, it really is about a hand up. It's about working with the businesses, and sometimes it may not even be financial. It may be that they need access to professional services that we can provide for them. So it's really about working with these businesses on a case-by-case basis. But, I mean, the donation side of things has just been amazing. We've had things ranging from Express Cargo, which is a small local-based company, held a golf day, and that came about from a discussion with some mates over golf. They decided they'd have a golf day and they'd raise money for the fund. So they raised over $30,000, which is great for a small company.
Day.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
B&Z have donated $250,000. HSBC have donated $250,000.
Wow.
CDC. So the response has been amazing. And last night's event, we had over 270 people there. And so it was about thanking those donors that have already come on board, but letting potential donors see just what the fund is about and how it may be used to help businesses.
Okay, finally, at this event last night, Roger Sutton spoke at that event. How important was it that he spoke there for the business owners?
I think that the businesses, and particularly the business leaders group, have all been delighted with Roger's appointment. He's a very honest, open person, and it's really what we need at the moment. So he came along to the function. He obviously wasn't able to say a lot because he doesn't start in the role at Sarah for a fortnight, but it was very important that he came and just made connections with those businesses, that he showed that he is committed to helping business survive and that he understands the pressures himself. I mean, he runs a business at the moment that's in the red zone, so he knows what it's like, and I think that people were really appreciative of the fact that he took the time, despite the fact that he hasn't started in the role, and came and connected with them.
Okay, Renee, thank you so much for coming on the programme. We do have to go. After the break, an event especially for the children of Christchurch. Over the weekend, an event was held especially for the children of Christchurch. Vivienne, tell me all about it.
Well, it's been a busy time for the last 3 months organising it, but we had over 1,000 children come to our event, and we had probably 2,500 people there. It was designed for children of the east side of Christchurch, predominantly those that have been affected by the quake the most. It was a multi-sport race, and we'd introduced the Funky Monkeys flew down from Hamilton.
That's right.
And so the idea was that we'd have the little ones race, and the race was a run and then a bouncy castle slide and then through to the finish line. We had 160 two-year-olds lined up. It was massive. And we had parents, and so the parents were going with the children, and they were very excited. There's lovely energy with young children. You just... It's just gorgeous. And so the children had a great time. Once we'd raced the 2s, 3s and 4s, we then had the Funky Monkeys do some singing and dancing for a quarter of an hour, and they were blowing bubbles and the children were clapping. And, and it was really, it was great. And then, of course, we had the next stage come through. So then we raced the our 5, 6 and 7-year-olds, and then we introduced an additional bouncy castle, and they had to crawl through it, over it, slide down it, run around it, then keep going. And it was on sand, so children got to run on bare feet.
Yeah.
And children were saying, oh, it's just like being at the beach.
Oh, that's cool. I have a feeling that's more than what you were expecting. The numbers were more than what you were expecting.
Well, we said we could probably cater to 1,500.
Okay.
And it would have been tight.
Yeah.
But
2,500 there.
Yes. But we had over 1,000 children, and that's quite a lot to manage, especially when they're really little.
Yeah.
But the energy was lovely. We had a lot of really nice comments from families. Nana and Pop came, and older siblings came, and it was a great chance for the older ones to be able to support the little ones. Because normally, you know, the bigger children play sport and the little ones watch on the sideline.
Yeah.
Oh, let's turn around.
How important was this for the people of the eastern suburbs for this kind of event to happen?
Well, the feedback I had, Kaneda, was that it meant a lot. I was very fortunate, I suppose, to be in a position where I could do this for these people. And we had our prize, people had spot prizes and they could go and collect them, and I had 3 of our volunteers said it was just a wonderful experience for them, because we said there would be spot prizes and we had 500 from ice blocks down to some quite expensive weekends away. And so they were sort of giving the good news. And so people came along expecting probably to get a Frisbee or a box of chocolates. Yeah. And then to find out that they actually had got a weekend away and petrol vouchers or grocery vouchers. And we had over 3 occasions where people burst into tears.
Oh.
And
it made me cry.
Oh, it was like that. And one of my friends that was volunteering for me, she said, oh, it was hard. She said, we really had to try hard not to cry ourselves. Yeah. And we were all sort of thinking, and this particular lady said, one of them said, she said, oh, look, it's been a tough time for us and we've just lost our home. And she said, no, I just need a holiday. Oh. And the prizes came in envelopes, and so they'd open them up. And she said, oh, I want a weekend away. And you know, it was it was lovely, and I felt that the event achieved what it wanted to. We had children that were happy, we had families that felt that they could have a complete day to watch the children. It was taken care of, everybody was having fun, and on top of that, you know, they might have won something, you know, groceries, you know, for that week, or petrol vouchers to do something.
So you must have some good sponsorship support.
Oh, look, I was very pleased. The Lions Foundation were just incredibly generous. They were great. They also turned up on the day, and we had them running our sausages. Also, we had free sausages for the children. One of our other sponsors, Paws, they came in and they gave away balloons and bubbles to the children, and then we had 2 other banks that supported it financially, which enabled us to actually run the event.
Okay, that's great, isn't it? You've got another one coming up.
Yes,
I feel.
We have. We've had, because of the success of Tiddlers over the last year, and because we're able to meet that young age group which currently aren't able to do a lot, because, you know, the parks are being used by older children, more competitive sports, and the pools are down at the moment. So we've been asked to run some more, and we've agreed to run 4 more this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when's the next one?
Next one is 17th of July.
Okay.
And it's in the Kids Fest magazines.
Yeah.
We haven't quite decided where the venue's going to be. It depends on whether we can use our usual location, but it's currently housing people at the moment who are displaced.
Okay.
So once we get that sorted, we'll be fine. But it's the 17th of July, and unless it's pouring with rain, then we'll go ahead. And I imagine we'll probably have at least 400 children there.
So what's the website so we can find out more?
Tiddlers Multisport.
Okay.
We all find us pretty quickly. This event will be a little bit different. It will be our usual triathlon for the young children. So from 4 up to 8, they do run, a bike and a bouncy castle. So we go back to our standard 3 parts of the race.
Oh, that's great. Vivienne, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
After the break, we catch up with some actors from The Importance of Being Earnest. You're back with City Life, and I'd like to welcome 2 very special actors, Elsie and Nick, to the program from The Importance of Being Earnest. How's it going? How's it looking? You open this week, Elsie.
We do open this week. Well, I actually haven't seen the amazing tent which has been brought over from the States for the event, and it's then going to be moving into Hagley Park after it's been in Dean's Bush. I've heard it sounds fantastic. We go in there tonight, so I'm really looking forward to running the show in the space.
Yeah. How's it looking for you, the play so far?
It's cool. We've only had really two full put-togethers now to see the whole thing as a whole, which has been really good, but it's hard because we've been rehearsing and David shared, the director's, his mother's living room. Because this is really, there's not many places around town now you can rehearse. So it's going to be really interesting taking it out of a sort of a warm coffee right there, couches, TV environment, and then putting it in a marquee.
But I guess it is moving into a marquee which seats about 150 people. I mean, I don't know how big her living room is, but, it's quite cosy, 150
It is,
people.
It's going to be really good as well. I think we need it now, maybe in front of people. After a couple more runs, it's going to need people laughing and stuff, because after a couple of weeks of rehearsal, the laughter dies down a wee bit in the rehearsal room as you sort of get used to the script. So it's going to be good having people in front of it. So
how do you feel at the moment? You've only run through it a couple of times. Are you at the nervous level of, oh my gosh?
We had a moment just before, where I sort of turned and went, we open in 4 days. 4 days. So, it's scary.
It is a little bit scary, and I guess, Nick and I have worked together quite a lot now, and we've worked together at the Court Theatre where it's a very regimented schedule of rehearsal, all, 9 to 5, so to speak, 6 days a week. And so this, I found it, and I know Nick has, that this has been it's been really different rehearsing in the evenings and weekends for this show, and so I'm a bit nervous in that we haven't had the usual build-up that I'm used to.
Yeah, okay.
But it will be wonderful.
I'm sure it will be. I mean, it'll be right on the night, is what they say, right?
Of course, it'll be right. We'll have a final dress with a few people on Friday night, so I'm really looking forward to that as well.
Now, the importance of being earnest, for those that out there who are not too sure about the play, let's have a quick synopsis. Nick, you look like you know what you know.
Okay, it's a comedy.
Okay.
And it's about two friends who find out very early on in the piece that they have alternate lives that neither of them knew about. And the play is sort of them going through and discovering each other's alternate lives and falling in love with each other's cousins, and it's all very intricate, and the importance of being earnest is because the women in the play only love the men at the beginning, we're told, because their name is Ernest, which neither of them is Ernest. It's actually Jack and Algernon, but they just call themselves Ernest when they're off larricking around, drinking and causing trouble.
So that's one of you, is it? That's one of
yes, I'm Jack, and
And you're one of the women who
I'm actually I'm playing Lady Bracknell. For those people who know the play, they might be a little surprised because she's usually an older woman. There's been a kind of trend overseas over the last 6 months for a man to play the character in cross-dress, much like in Hairspray. So it's we all know it's a man playing it, but he's never treated as a man. It's a woman, and we've gone for an approach where Lady Bracknell is she's a social climbing cougar.
Really? And that is you?
That's me.
That's Elsie.
That's
me.
So,
Elsie, I'm used to seeing you at the Court Theatre, and of course the Court Theatre's not around at the moment. What are you doing with your time? May I ask? What does an actor do during the day?
What does the actor... Well, when the earthquake happened, everything that had been planned for the year for me, in terms of contracts at the Court Theatre, sadly dissolved. The Christchurch Arts Festival asked me if I would do some work for them, so I'm actually working for the Christchurch Arts Festival, which is, I'm really excited, is coming to Christchurch despite the sad events of February, because I'm really missing having the input of culture, of music, of art, of performance. I'm really noticing I'm lacking in that, and things like the importance of being earnest will bring laughter, but with the Christchurch Arts Festival there'll be a real breadth of visual arts and performance and comedy, as well as music coming to the city, which I'm looking forward to.
Me too. I'm looking forward to it. And also the whole Canterbury Celebration Theatre with Ben McDonald in his moving the marquee. And I think it's just such a great initiative, especially for things to do in Christchurch, being entertained and things like that. So we have some tickets to give away for the importance of being earnest. 3 double passes. Now we've had people emailing in to put their name in the drawer. So Nick, I believe you've got the hat.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'll get you to. We've got 3 double passes to give away. So let's.
For opening night on Friday,
yes.
on Saturday night.
Saturday night,
the 4th of June.
Okay.
That post-it note, so they might be a little bit sticky. So Elsie, would you like to?
The first winners are Richard and Adele Butler.
Great, thank you.
Wonderful. Elsie, would you like to do number 2?
Certainly. From the hard hat.
It's the only hat we could find,
a little
actually.
sticky. Cherry Hansen.
Okay, great.
Okay,
final, one more.
See you on the opening night, Cherry.
Okay, last one. Blair Lloyd.
Okay, great. They were pretty easy, weren't they? All right, let me have those back just so we don't... Almost lost one. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Now, actually, next up on the program, we've got Luke de Somma and to talk about a pop choir that's starting out. So if you're looking for some things to do around Christchurch, then you might want to stick around with us.
He
might audition you on the spot. Thoughts?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
He may
Who knows?
Better do some humming. Get myself, prepare myself for such an audition.
So good to see you. So it's running from the 5th until the 15th. Oh, sorry, the 4th until the
14th.
Oh, why did I think the 5th till the 15th? Anyway, it doesn't matter. And we can get our tickets from...
There's 2 phone numbers. If you hop on the old internet, we're on Facebook, if you search The Importance of Being Earnest, or on Event Finder. So
cool.
Pop it in the old Google machine, and I'm sure Auntie Google will help you out.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys, for coming on the program.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Finally on the program, local composer, musician and writer extraordinaire, Luke de Somma. Welcome to the program.
Hi, how are you?
Very well. So what are you up to at the moment? I hear you've got a big project on the go.
Yeah, a few big projects. Lots of little things keeping me busy, which is really fun. But the main one is I'm starting a choir in Christchurch. It's called the Christchurch Props Choir, which is a new thing that I'm trying for and auditioning this weekend. And really cool opportunity for people to do some singing who maybe don't have much to do, and but other things. I'm the youth orchestra conductor here, and lots of other little projects and stuff. So,
I know, so exciting. Now I've got you on the program to talk about this pop choir. Tell me all about it, because it actually really excites me, because, you're
a singer from way back.
Back in the day. So tell me,
can I call you a hoofer, or is that too?
I don't even know what that means.
Like a stage kind of, right.
Yeah, right. No, you cannot.
Okay.
Who is it for?
Well, it's for anybody really who wants to just come along and sing. The pops word is a word predominantly used in America to describe orchestras and choirs who sing kind of contemporary popular repertoire. So that's jazz, it's rock, it's gospel, all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of cheekily calling it from Gershwin to Gaga, right? So everything from kind of classic jazz right through to stuff today. And it's for anybody who really wants to come and sing and be a great performer. And the great thing about a choir is that we want great voices, but you're one of 40 or one of 60, however big it ends up being. So you don't have to have a killer, amazing voice on your own, as long as you can hold a part and blend and be part of a team. That's kind of what we're after. So lots of actors and singers in Christchurch who are displaced. Nick and Elsie, unfortunately, aren't quite good enough to get into my choir.
Hey, I said you didn't need to audition.
No,
I can't believe you just said that.
No, just teasing. That'd be great.
Especially Nick. I haven't actually heard Elsie sing.
No, they're
she's very good.
Both got lovely voices. Both done lots of musicals at the court, but it's not quite up to my standard.
Hey!
No, just teasing. So a lot of people in Christchurch who don't really have a whole lot to do. Show business isn't really doing anything at the moment. A lot of the kind of operatic societies and musical theatre groups, by virtue of venues, aren't really performing. So I thought kind of now's the time to get people to sing, and the response has been really fantastic.
Yeah, I'm so excited about it.
Yeah.
How many people are you hoping? You're hoping for around 40, 60. Has there been quite a big response to the auditions?
We've probably got we've got a lot of people have emailed for audition packs. So the big thing is getting them times, and also kind of getting more boys and more men. That's kind of the big challenge, because as you know, lots of chicks like this kind of stuff, and we have lots of women wanting to audition. So it's really about getting as many guys to give it that kind of big guy sound.
Okay.
But yeah.
Tell us about the audition process.
Well, this Sunday from 10 till 6, we might have to go later if we get lots of people auditioning, hopefully, at Impact Stage School in Cherm Street. And basically, I'm asking people to prepare like 2 snippets of 2 songs. So an up-tempo song and a slow song, just a little bit so we can hear it. It's a pretty short audition, about kind of 5-6 minutes. Nothing too taxing, but it is really important that we hear people sing fast and slow so that we get a sense of what they're capable of. And it's pretty friendly. You know, I think the thing with auditions is that you always want the person to succeed. You know, you always want the person to do well. So I'm really looking forward to... We've got good numbers so far, but hopefully we get more over the next week. And so right up until Sunday, people can get in touch. So
give me some advice, well, for myself, say, for example, because I know you quite well. What would you say to someone who knows, you know, the people on the audition panel quite well?
Well, I mean, I think that anybody who's on the panel is professional enough to know that, you know, it's like even with you and coming into your workplace, that there's a friendliness, but there's also a professionalism. So I'm not going to treat anybody differently that I know. It's, you know, everyone's requirements are the same. I've got really good friends who are like, you're making me audition? I'm like, yeah, I'm making you audition.
I know.
It's really important.
That's what I thought.
It's really, well, it's really important that people do audition because, you know, I don't want, you know, I've got some money from Creative New Zealand to do this, so I don't want it to be seen to be just picking people that I know. It's really important that, you know, and there's only so much advertising you can do and you're not going to reach everybody. But there's an ad going in the paper tomorrow and here I am on telly talking about it. So hopefully we get some people, lots of people I don't know coming through, which is really, really awesome.
So how can people get audition packs?
They can email us at chichapopschoir@gmail.com. So that's CHCHPOPSCHOIR@gmail.com. Just a spell in my head.
Gotcha.
And we're on Facebook as well, so get in touch.
Is it the Pops Choir on Facebook?
Yeah, just Christchurch Pops Choir, yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for coming on the programme. If I'm feeling brave, I might just...
You totally should.
Pop in an audition pack.
You'd be much better than Elsie and Nick, so you should totally come along.
No, I know that they're very good. Thanks for coming on the programme.
No worries,
anyway.
cheers, thanks.
That is City Life for today. We do have some tickets still to give away for Vegas, one of Ben McDonald's shows for the Canterbury Celebration Theatre, so email me, kaneta@ctv.co.nz. You can always give me a call, 3777 033, or write to me, PO Box 1100 Christchurch. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.